Next game is the final game of the early slate. It's Ravens at the Redskins. The sign opened up Ravens -13, and it's still -13 despite what happened Monday night. So who do you like in this game?
Yeah, I like the Ravens, and I would have liked them maybe even less if they had won on Monday night. But I love them now that they've lost, because they're going to be really mad that they lost prime time against the Chiefs. And they're going to want to come out and really like punch their next opponent in the mouth, because they really didn't play all that well. That first half, they couldn't do anything on offense, and their defense was just picked apart by Patrick Mahomes. And now they're going to Washington to take on the football team, who's 1-2. They just lost by 14 to Cleveland in a game that Washington really played almost as well as they could, except they turned the ball over 5 times. They're going to have a lot more trouble against Lamar Jackson, because they're going to be without Matt Ioannidis, who's out for the season on their defensive line, possibly Chase Young, who's been excellent to start the year. So that's 2 defensive linemen that might be out. They have great depth there, but still, you're talking about 2 of their very key pass rushers. And anytime you're taking on Lamar Jackson, you need people who can get into the backfield and kind of disrupt him. I don't think that they're going to be able to do that quite enough in this game. I think Jackson might be able to run wild if he can get around the defensive line. Troy Apke and Landon Collins have been missing tackles like crazy at the safety position, so Jackson could have like a 70-yard touchdown run. And then on the other side of the ball for Washington, Dwayne Haskins just has not looked good this year. And I don't think he's going to stand a chance against this Ravens defense. So I'm on the Ravens -13 for 1 to 2 units. I hate betting on massive numbers too much, but this is one that I feel pretty safe betting on, because I do not think Washington can compete with Baltimore at all.
Yeah, I don't see how they're going to do it. It seems like such a big mismatch. In the Ravens, their defense, the way they're built, they have to blitz a lot because they don't really have the pass rushers. But and it didn't work against Mahomes, who's amazing against the blitz. But you have Dwayne Haskins, who's very inexperienced, and he doesn't see the field right now. Like he's misreading stuff. His accuracy is pretty bad too. So as bad as it could have been, like there were other passes that he threw that could have been intercepted in that game against the Browns too. So and that was against a Cleveland secondary that is, solid. They're okay. They're not as good as Baltimore. So I just feel like the Redskins are going to have a ton of problems moving the chains in this game. Brandon Sheriff's going to be out again. So I think without Sheriff, the Redskins might have the worst offensive line in the NFL. So the Ravens should be able to do whatever they want in the trenches on that side of the ball. And, with Ioannidis out and Chase Young potentially out, like that's the strength of the Redskins. Like, so they may not have that. So I feel like the Ravens should dominate this game. And you're talking about how this line seems a little too high. And like at first glance, you're like, oh, 13. I don't want to bet that. I don't know if it's high enough. I was looking at the computer model, and like my eyes popped out of my head when I saw it. The computer thinks this line should be -20. So it's a touchdown. It's a touchdown shy of that. So I mean, the Ravens look great here. Usually you don't want to bet on teams coming off bad Monday night losses, because they won't have the amount of time they need to make adjustments. But I think that's not the case with the Ravens. Like they're one of the best teams in the league. They just matched up poorly against the Chiefs, and I think they're going to be fine. I think they're going to rebound, and I think they're going to be focused.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. They don't need to really make adjustments. Just their game plan didn't work against the Chiefs, but it sure as hell should work against Washington, because they are just not very good right now. They're well coached, and they're going to find some guys to fill in long-term roles on this team. But I mean, we've seen it the last couple of weeks. Ron Rivera hasn't even been using his timeouts late in like 2-possession games to try to get the ball back. He knows that this is a rebuilding year, so I can't imagine Baltimore not crushing Washington.
Yeah. Quick question for you, because you cover the Redskins. If the Redskins get the second pick in the draft, do you think they take Justin Fields and just quit on the Haskins experiment?
That's a good question. I think they could consider it, but Ron Rivera is so dead set about taking the best player available that it wouldn't surprise me if he likes, say, Penei Sewell, the left tackle from Oregon, enough. He may say, like, let's build up the offensive line. Let's see if Alex Smith can play. And even if we want to give up on Dwayne Haskins, if Alex Smith can't play and Haskins can't play, we have Kyle Allen and we can sign a veteran and just go one more kind of rebuilding year and then try to find a quarterback. But I would not rule out them taking a quarterback and Haskins doesn't show any growth.
Okay. Yeah, I think that makes sense to me. I guess it really depends on how Haskins plays. But I think if they get the number 1 pick, they definitely take Treveor Lawrence. I think every team that gets the first pick takes Lawrence, except for the Bengals because they have Burrow and the Dolphins because they have Tua. So that's how I think it's going to unravel. All right. Before we get to the late games, again, please hit subscribe or the like button on YouTube. It would mean a lot to us that we're sending this link out to help promote the podcast. We really appreciate it.